good artist to begin this with. So you're the first one.
Dang. I'm honored.
So
Yay.
right, so we need to catch up, but I'm gonna jump right
Right.
into it. I'm
Okay.
gonna jump right in it to be like, look, tell us. So this is artist. What I'm calling this is artist rituals. I want to talk about like artist creative process um, and also get into how somebody's spiritual process and how that might influence their art. I'm really,
Mhm.
the creative process is something I'm really interested in for a lot of artists and how we can learn from each other when it comes to like what we do. So I love the idea of like rituals because something that you do regularly as an artist to
Mhm.
create your magic. Um,
Mhm.
but tell us about like tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm an artist. I am a human. I'm an actress. I'm a singer, and I'm a songwriter. And yeah, that's me. And I'm a dog mommy. And
Yes. I love your
yeah,
dog. I would.
yes.
I can't tell her what I call her one here. So.
But yeah.
Okay, so do you have? I'm gonna. Do you have any like rituals as an artist?
Um, I wouldn't say that I have any rituals as an artist, but as a human, I do, which go into my artistry. So, um, like a ritual that I would use to create art is a ritual that I would use to create peace or space for something new. And
Mhm.
so that ritual really is just practicing relaxation,
Mm.
because I realize that for things to come to me as a human and as an artist in the best form, I have to be relaxed and at peace. So I do that with like meditation or just with like um, doing nothing sometimes, like practicing just doing nothing and just being and experiencing. So that's a ritual, I would say.
So you said something. You said as an artist, no, but then you said but as a person, yes. So like talk. So is that like something that you do? Do you like separate yourself from your like? Do you separate like yourself as a person from art? Like why do you choose to phrase it like that?
Um, I think because I am an artist, but I am also other things too.
Okay.
It's not like my only identity, I feel.
Okay.
Um, but because I think, um, even as an artist, people may just look at me as an artist and may negate the fact that I'm also a human.
Hmm.
So I I'm human first, you know. So I always tend to that first.
Nice, nice. Now we have had many a talks about the moon and the stars and the everything and everything.
Yeah.
I've
Me and
known
you will go
Saige
on about
for
it,
a while.
okay?
I've known Saige for a while now, but I would say, how has your okay? So I know we talked about like your rituals and everything, but you know, um, what about your creative process? How has it changed since? Or tell everybody about your creative process. I know you've been creating a lot more lately in this last 2 years. You've been really expanding yourself as an artist. How? I don't know. I would
um,
a better way to say that. Like,
well, I have been just like trusting and allowing, meaning that I've just been experiencing things, letting them and allowing my experience to be the main source of my creativity. And I've also been putting that into action just with all of the intention that I want behind it. And so that's changed. Like I've never before like right now, the space that I'm in, I've never before now like so intentionally and specifically put action behind my creativity, because that's what it usually just takes. It's just the action of it. And so that process has just been trial and error, learning and unlearning, and just allowing things to come, and also letting things go that don't align with the creativity that, you know, I desire, or, you know, my creative process that feels good for me. Yeah.
I'm gonna
if that answers your question.
No, really. I'm gonna take this and see if I can make this even bigger or something. I don't know how to do this. Oh, gallery view. There we go. I can see both.
Can you see me? I feel like my forehead is hella shiny.
No, it's good. I was like, good skincare. I was like, look.
Oh God. Okay. It's like these.
Okay,
grades.
so how has that being said? Like, how has your talk about your spiritual journey?
My spiritual journey. Okay. My spiritual journey is always evolving, and it's really a practice, because it's really just me trusting. That's my spiritual journey. It's just a practice of trusting. I keep saying this, but it's still just trusting and allowing, because which just always takes a lot of patience and obedience. My spiritual journey requires a lot of obedience. It in connection with God, you know, for me, because a lot of things that I may do may not be things that I thought to do. It may be something that has been asked of me, and I have to trust and just kind of do it, knowing that everything is okay. Yeah. So my spiritual journey has just been like evolving from a place of knowing the purpose and calling on my life, but then having to tap into a space where, okay, well, are you going to be obedient and do the things that I'm asking you of you, like aligned with your assignment, if that makes sense? I don't know if I'm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's also that would also go back to why I'm just not an artist, because like there is a specific calling on my life that just doesn't require me to be an artist, but maybe how I am fulfilling the assignment. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. You know, because, you know, there's times when you perform, and I know you perform solely like this too, but have there been, there's times where I've performed, I know you probably have too, where you're doing something in the midst of you doing something, like you know, you have this impression, or you know, you have what some people call the still small voice of the universe, or whatever you want to call it, to tell you to shift gears in the midst of an actual performance.
Yes, because I have literally seen your ancestors come out of you. Literally, I have seen. I'm so serious. Like I've seen you perform, and I'm like, that's not even him. Yeah. And I know that, so.
And I know, like, you're very in tune with you know, with your guidance as well, and you know, talk about those times. Has there ever been can you pinpoint a particular time where you've you've benefited from really listening?
Every time. Every time.
Yeah.
You know, from listening to God and being obedient with what he's asking me, like that, or
Yeah.
yeah, every time. I've benefited every time. That's all I could say. Maybe not, and I had to get used to feeling good about doing that. Because that's hard.
How does that look like? Because I know you cross disciplines, and how does that look like as an actor? It's a hard world to navigate as an actor. For me.
Yeah, it is. As an actor, still, for me, it's just trusting and allowing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just trusting and allowing because it's such a fixed place, fixed environment. And so it's going to work when it's supposed to work.
How does that look like? You know, there's some people that might be looking at this and they might not know anything about the acting world and everything. So how does that look? Do you have, like, can you explain how it's fixed and how you have to navigate in that fixed environment? Because I agree with you in that it is a fixed environment. Yeah.
It's fixed in a way where there are hundreds and thousands of people who go out for the same role that look just like you and that can do the exact same thing you do. But it's also a place where, you know, they're looking for the right person, the one thing, and you're going to be the right person for the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, it's just a matter of staying disciplined, you know, always improving and working on your craft. But also, like, as they would say, like, submit and forget. Audition, submit for it, and let it go.
Yeah.
And if you got it, if it's right for you, you'll get it. So, you know, I've, like, my process with that from coming out of school and getting back into, like, the audition phase has just been a practice of basically submitting and auditioning with intention. Just not going to auditions just to go and things like that, but really looking at a casting or something like that and saying, I actually really want to know, like, would love to play out this story or would love to challenge myself in this way. So just not so much more chasing it. When I found myself chasing after, like, you know, roles, like, for my acting career and things like that, it was exhausting. And for me, it really, like, put a lot of, you know, pressure on me and gave me anxiety. And that's not a great space for me to work in. Some people work really well under pressure and can do well with all the anxiety. For me, that's just not how I create in my highest form. That's just not for me. But so I've had to reverse the chasing and going after it from being really intentional and submitting and forgetting.
Yeah. So a lot of times you're in this space where you as an actor where sometimes you have to compromise, like, you're in compromising positions. How do I say this? Where once you have the role, let's say once you have the role, and you're in the room and everything, there's a lot of things asked of you as an actor, that you have to compromise your own creative process.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Would you do you have any? Would you speak on that a little bit?
So what are you asking? Like, as far as like what do I do, or like what?
Yeah. How do you? Yeah, I know you just kind of talked about it in as it pertains to the audition room. and
Mm-hmm.
stuff and auditioning and everything. How do you like once you have a role and you're in the room?
And I'm in my room, you said?
In the room, like in
What's I'm in the room. Really is just about having choices, going in there and already knowing a sense of how you want this role, how you want this character to be, who that character is, basically everything about them down to the T. But also, I like to leave space for like other ways that this can go.
Mm.
I will say I did learn in school from one professor, like, you throw spaghetti at the wall and you see what sticks.
Mm.
So just come with the noodles, come with the noodles already cooked so we can throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
Oh, okay. So you have to have the noodles at the wall. Come with the noodles, and then you just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. Okay, that's that's good advice because not everyone, not everyone lives in a balance of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I know there's been productions where I made all my choices by fault and not allowed room for
Yeah.
for directors to get in it. Then I know there's some shows where I didn't make any choices, especially in my early, I didn't make any choices and allowed the director to tell me what to do always and put the extra burden on the director. Also, it was no longer my craft anymore.
Right. It was like now you're just you're in someone else's vision and you're portraying that.
I always say this, like, not every actor is an artist.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true. Yeah. Because you have to come in and say and actually take control over who you want this to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a thing that you have to, like you said, it's a choice.
It's a choice. It is. Yeah.
Exactly. And you can move on.
Yeah, you can, and you can actually just have the more fun and have as many choices as you want.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and one of the questions on there that is there any question that I saw that you were like dying to scream, or can I just ask any question?
You can ask any question. Yeah.
Okay. How do you get started in doing what you do?
Well, as far as music goes, I've been singing since I was like 3 years old, and I started singing in church when I was a young child. And my mom, she put me in like dance classes, and then when I was in middle school, what?
I'll say first of all, Saige's mom is Saige's biggest fan.
She's crazy, but shout out to Tasha. But yeah, then when I was in middle school, I got this scholarship from this camp that I went to take these classes. It was called like a triple threat class. It was like musical theater, dancing class, and that changed my whole life because after that's when I got into theater, and that's when I started performing on stage. And yeah, that's how I got into that.
Yeah.
So, and that's what led into music, more acting. And yeah, at a young age, I was like, I'm never going to work a 9 to 5.
Right.
I'm going to be an artist.
Yeah, Saige is a phenomenal actress. I was able to do only one show with you. No. 2.
Oh yeah, we did do 2. Yeah, we sure did. That's okay. Life is still going.
One Clybourne Park, Danbury, Connecticut, and then Harlem. What was that place in the Dempsey Theater in Harlem? Yeah.
Yes, all God's children wear shoes.
Wear shoes.
Got shoes.
Yeah. Wear shoes. What?
Yes.
Oh, this is a good question. If you could predict the next wave and trend in the art world, what do you think it's going to be?
In the art world?
And I say the art world because I know you might be speaking from an actor. I don't know if you're going to speak
Okay.
or if you're going to speak from music or if you're going to speak from whatever. Yeah.
The next trend, I I can't say exactly what I feel like the next trend is going to be. I just know that, like, I feel like what's really popular right now is like self-care and being zen and tuned in and things like that. More than before, like, it was not even a question, or it wasn't even a topic of conversation, but now, like, everywhere you look on Instagram and on people's, Instagram pages and, the quotes that people put up, it's all about, like, about spirit and things like that. So I think right now that's coming into a trend, and I can see that the next wave may be for, like, artists to start, like, putting that into their work, not as like a practice, but as like something to, what am I trying to say? To use in their creative. I don't know how I'm trying to say it. Like, literally, I can see somebody like writing a musical, like Zen, the musical, or like, do you know what I mean? Or
well, so you say something really good. Like, everybody is going to this, as I think as everyone and artists are finally like taking the time to be like, okay, I'm not going to produce as if I'm not human. Like,
yeah.
I need to. I'm only human. I need to do what's possible for me to not go crazy. One.
Yeah.
But I will say is, do you think there's ever a point where people, and you can agree? I know you might not agree. Do you ever think there's a point where you can be too careful with yourself?
Too careful.
Is there a point where self-care, where this idea of self-care gets in the way?
Okay, how?
I don't know.
Like, what do you mean how? I mean, I think self-care is just all about what works for you. So if it works for you, then it works. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think self-care, like, if you're really taking care of yourself, I don't think it can get in the way of anything. I think it can move a lot of things out of the way.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So.
There is another question, and because intimacy. Okay. This is gonna go into my next one. What is your relationship as an artist? I'm asking every artist this. What is their relationship with their physical body when it comes to creating?
My physical relationship with my relationship with my physical body, I would say is just, an evolution of, it's a love, it's a relationship, it's a romance. Because I want to feel good about everything that I do in the body that I created in. And, for myself as an artist, as a singer, and as an actress, I've had to go to a place and really look at myself and say, okay, but do you see it first? Like, do you see you, your body, your skin, your smile, and these visions that you have? You know, like when I think of myself as an actor, like I'm gonna, you know, as actors, we're gonna say we're limitless. We could play anything, but that's true. That's true. You know, I can play anything. I don't have to box myself in, but that, you know, knowing for me has to come from the relationship that I have with myself, with my body. And so I would say that the relationship with myself is definitely a romance, but that doesn't mean that it's easy. We all know relationships are hard. They can be challenging. So sometimes this relationship with my body is stubborn. Sometimes it's impatient, and sometimes it's just a challenge to get on the same page with it, or for it to get on the same page with me.
Right.
But it's always evolving and growing and changing. So yeah, that's what I would say.
And this is in your music too, because to explain or you know, you can sing a little bit, or you can explain or whatever you want to do. But I love the part. It was like everybody's asking who's that. So Saige has a song, and this one line is that everybody's asking who's that bad bitch, but nobody's asking how's that bad bitch.
Yeah. That line is just basically coming from a place of, you know, you back to Instagram, you know, you see people on Instagram, you see hot girl summer, you see all these trends, you see, you know, all these influencers, or, you know, young ladies and men too, who are tending to a certain, you know, look and goal, which is fine, which is great, you know, tapping into trends and finding your space in those, I think that's a great thing. But for people who don't do that, you know, well, I wouldn't even say for people who don't do that yet. What I'm saying is those people who, you know, even for myself, like trying to fit in or look the best, and be a part of the, how do I say this? Like being a part of the whole shebang of it. Mm-hmm. You know, you can totally like negate that we may still be very like, it sounds so dramatic, but like, let me sum this up. I'm going to try to sum this up. Yes. Everybody asks who's that bad bitch, right? You go on Instagram, you scroll in, see a bad bitch picture, and you double tap, and you're like, damn, who is that? You know what I mean? Follow. And this person has got wonderful pictures, wonderful videos, and then, you know, maybe there's bullies under those comments and pictures and things like that. You know, some people who are hating on this wonderful person because of jealousy, or because of, you know, they're themselves unapologetically on Instagram or something. And everybody is still in this like, who is this? Mm-hmm. You know, and how can I look like this person? Or how can I be like this person? Or how can I tear this person down, or something like that? Not really tapping into the fact that, like, we don't know anything about this person. Yeah. And my thought is, you know, my thought isn't always like, oh, who is that? How are you? How's your mind? How's your heart? You know, like, I don't know if I'm explaining this in a straight way. It goes into so many things, but
you are explaining it so well, because, you know, me and you and I both come from the musical theater world primarily, you know.
Yes.
That is a vicious world. I tell people all the time, I'm like, it's a bitch. It can be, not always. And yes, I would say this correct. We can, you know, like, it can be very vicious.
Yes. And that's where those words, like, I was going through my own experience in that world when I wrote those words. And it really comes from just a place of, you know, doing the work, keeping your head down, you know, showing up and trying your best to be so perfect. And almost basically losing your mind, and no one once has said, well, how is your mind? How are you? Like, what space are you even creating from right now?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And that's also what gave me the awareness that, you know, no one may do that. No one may say, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be the one to say, Saige, how are you? Check in.
Yeah. No, that's so important because, you know, I talk to older artists, older actors,
Mm-hmm.
and they, you know, like, you know, even though they probably won't admit it, but in my personal opinion, a lot of them are still holding on to a lot of the traumatic things that were happening to them. Or, you know, you'll get this thing, it's like, if I went through it, you got to go through it, you know, and it's like, no, but we don't have to sleep on 3 hours. That's just not, you know, like, we don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
when people realize, like, no, as the artist, you know, like, you know, this is just produce and produce and produce and produce and produce, and producers can't do anything without the artists themselves. The artists,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say the artists, I'm including technicians because that's the art form in itself, and you know, everybody who works,
Everything.
you know,
Yeah.
management, you know, costumes, everything. They're all of it. We are all artists, and like, this idea that you have to keep, like, you have to work to a point of unhealthiness, or you
Mm-hmm.
overworking culture, toxic overworking culture is a big thing in theater, it's
Yeah.
in acting, um, and
All
it's
around the world.
even more so in theater than film. You know,
Yeah.
in films you have these breaks, you have, you know, you have more, but like in theater, it's all about the nitty and gritty blood, sweat, and tears.
The hustle.
Yes,
The
it's so.
hustle of it. And if that's, like, for me, that's a choice.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, if
yeah,
that's what you want to do, that's because you choose to do it. But like, you don't have to do it that way. There's so many cycles in that, you know, in that field that can be broken with that. And you don't have to work yourself into the ground, because like I said, for me, that just doesn't work for me. Like, look, if it keeps you up, it keeps you up. You know, if on purpose, like, you know, if it just happens to keep you up and going until 5 o'clock in the morning, that's wonderful. I think that's a great place to be in.
Mhm.
But when you're forcing it and literally just driving yourself into the ground, I don't think, I mean, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think it's, you know, your health is worth it. You
Yeah,
know, I think because you want to be able to keep on creating after that. You know, I don't like the idea of a burnout,
no,
you know? So balance, there has to be balance.
yeah, no, you're
That's what it really is, balance.
yeah,
Because I realized just recently, you know, I have two jobs besides um, being, you know, an artist full time and things like that. I was working, I hadn't been working like crucial hours in a while. I really had found a balance in my life with my jobs where, you know, I can make a good decent amount of money with the hours that I have and still have all the space for my art and creativity.
Mhm.
But with the COVID that happened, I ended up picking up a lot of hours in this environment that just was pretty negative. And immediately I got sick. My whole immune system shut down. And immediately, like, my physical body rejected the hustle of things. You just, and that's just for me. But, you know, and if I do that and that's what happens, I can't create.
Yeah,
So I had to say, okay, we're slipping back into like an unbalanced, you know, an unbalanced space. We need to, and sometimes that looks like, that even though that goes back to you being obedient, you know, like drop some of those hours so that you can get to what you need to get to. And
The
even though
body
you may
talks.
not, the body talks, yeah. Your body will be your first indicator of what's going right and what's going wrong. I really believe that.
So the last thing I'm gonna ask is like, well, two things. Is okay. So what are your personal health tips when you're in a show?
Personal health tips when I'm in a show. Get rest. Rest is very important. Eat well. Feed your body nourishing things. And yeah, I would say those two things, only because our body is what gets us there. Like, we need our bodies to literally do our jobs.
Yeah.
When you feel good, you create better, you know? And rest is important, because you don't get rest, like, your immune system will shut down. It will show, you know, it'll wear on your body. So I would just say rest and be well to your body. Yeah.
And then the last question that I'm going to end with, let me pick a good one. Let me pick a really good one. I wrote these up. Okay, what advice would you give to an artist when they feel like they're stuck?
No, you're not stuck. You're never stuck. You're always moving. It may be at that time and space, there's not a lot of momentum, but you're never stuck, because, you know, usually an artist will say, well, I'm stuck because they're either in a place where they feel like they're not creative, their juices aren't going and they can't create anything, or, you know, the things that they have created aren't moving, they aren't being seen, they aren't being purchased, or they aren't being liked, or something like that. And as an artist, we're just never stuck, because if you feel stuck, I feel like it's usually just because you're experiencing what you need to experience right now. You know, because I've realized that all the times that I thought I was stuck, I was just in a space where I needed to feel and experience the things that I was experiencing to get to the next thing. As artists, we're just not always going to be fastly moving, because that's not how we collect our gems to create the next piece.
Yeah.
How are we supposed to collect those things, form those ideas, get inspired, if we're moving through things so fast? We're never stuck.
Yeah, this is a reoccurring theme that keeps on coming up. Slow down.
Slow down. Experience, feel, be. Just be. Because as an artist, that's really one of the main jobs, is to be.
You know, the hardest thing during this COVID thing was I'm in the house trying to do everything so fast. I'm like, where are you going?
Why are you rushing? Why are you trying to rush through your life?
Right, where are you going? I'm sleeping hard. I'm watching this as fast. I'm doing everything fast. I'm turning on TV. I'm trying to speed. I'm watching YouTube and putting on the speed thing on the bottom. So I can get through the YouTube video fast. I'm like, who does?
Yeah.
I'm trying to, I'm looking at my food while I was cooking, trying to make it go faster. Like,
It's the practice of being present. If you feel stuck, you're not being present.
Yeah.
You're not accepting and fully seeing where you're at. And not tapping into all the joy that can be in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
And also, there's no way you can be stuck when there's always work to do.
Period.
There's
All
always
the work,
something to do.
always the work that needs to be done. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so this was a really good conversation. I know you have to get ready for your Sage also teaches Zumba,
I
Sage
sure
also is an
do.
instructor. Um,
Yeah.
and uh, and you can find, if you what can you want to put out your Instagram handle?
Yeah, sure. My Instagram handle is the Sage Noelle. TheSaigenoelle. And if you like Zumba, it's Zumba with Sage, so you can follow that page too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And which is good because some people are not able. Some people cannot actually get to their Zumba classes or to get
That's
physical
right.
activity during this COVID. So follow that Zumba page as well. And you have some new music that's coming out. I saw, or
I do.
in the works. Um,
Yes. I'm
that's
very excited
yeah.
about that. Coming soon. Don't have a date yet, but summer. Summer definitely. And
Oh, so it's gonna be
yeah.
a Bob.
You know, you know. Satellite. No, but yeah, so stay tuned for that. You can find all that information and updates on my Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, I'm gonna. And you can also on her Instagram, you can see when her gigs are. I know she posts her show gigs a lot on that Instagram as well.
Yes.
She keeps you updated on what shows. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun. I love this because